Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back. So it is day 2 of our Skagit Valley Tulip Festival trip, and today the weather wasn't quite in our favor. Not to worry though, my mom and I decided to go visit Christianson's Nursery in the Skagit Valley, and this is a place that I have been wanting to go to for years. If you're not familiar with Christianson's Nursery, I would advise you to look it up because it is definitely a place to know. It's kind of like a destination nursery. So not only does it have plants for sale, shrubs for sale, roses for sale, it actually has a display garden and an old schoolhouse where they hold events, including weddings. And I joke, I wish I had known that when I got married, because this would have been a place I would have been tempted to get married at. Even though we live in Northern California, I would have thought about getting married here because the ambiance is just that beautiful. So not only is it like a classic nursery, they had onion starts, they had asparagus, they had shrubs, they had topiaries. They also have classic, old glass greenhouses that are just incredible. We started off by entering the nursery through the conservatory, and the conservatory is home to most of the indoor flowering plants and the foliage plants, like the indoor plants. This area is also where they had a lot of their containers, a lot of their terracotta, and a lot of their gardening supplies. My mom and I were pretty disappointed because we had actually flown on an airplane here up to Washington from California, and we did not have a lot of room in our suitcases. So although we wanted to buy absolutely everything that was there, we really had to limit ourselves. So even though it was a dark, dreary day here in the Skagit Valley, the greenhouse inside, it was just so beautiful. The natural light was just streaming in, and then Christianson's also hangs twinkle lights up in the ceilings, and it really just makes it absolutely magical. It is such a perfect environment, and I can see why somebody would want to have an event here or want to get married here, because it just had this really special feel to it. One of the things I love doing when I go visit nurseries or special gardens is grabbing one of their shirts or one of their hats, just so I can remember the area. I don't know how I didn't know this, but Christianson's Nursery's motto or slogan is dig, plant, love, which I just loved so much because mine is dig, plant, water, repeat. So when I was looking at the shirts and looking at the hats, of course I had to get one of these dig, plant, love hats, and you guys will probably see me wearing it quite often in my garden and in my videos from now on. The garden supplies that Christianson's Nursery had for sale were all high quality garden supplies. I couldn't believe it. They had, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, they had Davitt trowels, and this one was an onion hoe, which I thought was so interesting. They had those tulip bulb spades. They had Felco pruners. They had everything. They had these incredible Japanese weeders that I had heard some other gardeners talk about, but I had never actually seen in person. And I wanted to get one so bad, but I knew that the airlines would not be happy having me have a sharp Japanese weeder in my suitcase. There you can see a little sneak peek of the propagation house. I was so excited to get out there, but I was taking my time and trying to look at all this fun stuff. It was amazing. The store also had some Haws, HAWS watering cans that have been on my mom and my wish list for quite a while. Again, we were so tempted. My mom wanted to get this mint green one. I wanted to get this white cream one. I just thought that they were so beautiful, and it was so fun to see them in person. But we stopped ourselves again. We had no room to carry things back, and I had already bought a bunch of stuff at an antique store that I will show you guys a little bit later. Some antique frogs and some antique vases. So excited about it. After finishing up in the conservatory, my mom and I went into the main greenhouse, the main area of Christianson's nursery. And this is where they mainly have their annuals and new seasonal plants. And it was quite a sight. They actually had food trucks just outside, just off to the left where I am right now. And there was people sitting around on benches all over the greenhouse eating their pizza from the food trucks. It was really, really cute. I think the most impressive thing about Christianson's nursery were their hanging baskets. They design and grow custom hanging baskets in the spring and summer. They use all these annuals that they have in the main greenhouse for them, and these hanging baskets are absolutely incredible. They used a couple different containers for their hanging baskets. They had these kind of generic plastic ones that they obviously put a couple plants in, but then they also had these wood kind of square shaped ones that they obviously had made themselves. Then they also had the ones with the begonias in them. You can see them right there. My mom is just looking at them in awe. And these are the kinds that have holes on the sides of the basket so that the plants would kind of stick out the edges, and it kind of looked like a whole sphere or a ball of flowers. It was incredible. They had birds everywhere. They had some doves that were in some cages, not only in here, but also in the propagation house. But then the doors were open and there were lots of birds just hanging out everywhere, which again, just added to that beautiful natural feel of the place. Okay, here are the hanging baskets that I was just obsessed with. I was in awe. They were so incredibly heavy. I don't know how you would hang these on anything. It would have to be something that was so strong, but they were all made out of these wood pieces. My mom measured them. I can't remember right now, but I think they were about 12 inches wide. Just right out that door right there, there was another greenhouse which housed a whole bunch of the roses, but then in the back, there were 2 employees that were putting together all these hanging baskets, specifically the wood ones. My mom and I went back there and we were just poring over them. So what they would do is they would take either from 9 to 12 small, tiny annuals, and they would put them in each one of these baskets. You can see they're stacked under the tables. For the shade ones, they relied heavily on begonias as kind of their centerpiece. For the sun ones, they relied heavily on geraniums and petunias, and they were absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at these hanging baskets right here, you guys. I could not get over them. I was taking notes as much as I could. They had wire vine, creeping Jenny, Ipomoea, bacopa, so many beautiful things just shoved into these baskets. So there were 2 women that were putting them together. I asked if they would be on film so we could ask them some questions. And unfortunately, they didn't want to be on camera, which I completely understand, but they were happy to answer all the questions that we had. And we asked them, do you have a recipe? What do you do? How do you decide what to put in? And the employees just said they had been working there for years and years and years. One of them said she had been working there for almost all of her adult life, and she just was creative. She said she was just creative about it and just experimented with it and just put together. She said they usually chose between 9 and 12 plants, which I felt like was so many plants for a basket this size. But she said that when they grow up and they fill in, they're absolutely incredibly gorgeous. So I was so inspired. I took notes on everything because this is something that the ladies did, is that they took a tag from every single plant they put in to these baskets, and they put the tags in the basket so we knew exactly what was in those baskets. So I took notes on a whole bunch of them just so that I could create my own Christianson inspired hanging baskets. So let me bring you all over to another area where they had most of their sun baskets all finished and ready to be sold. They did tell us that there were some that were pre-ordered. You can pre-order them. They can ship them, but they don't recommend it because they are so heavy. But I just wanted to show you how complicated this recipe was. It was absolutely incredible. Okay, so it started off with a geranium. And like I said, usually they use the geranium as the thrillers in their sun baskets. Then it had a Dusty Miller. They used 2 of these petunias. Then they used a lobelia. Then they used a bacopa, I think was next. Yep, a bacopa. Then they used Lychismachia. I hope I'm saying that one right. And they used 2 of each of those. So it was just absolutely incredible. It was so beautiful. I know that they did start off with pretty small plants. These were not big plants. These were not like the Grande Proven Winners pots. They were a lot smaller so they could fit more in and almost kind of split them in half. This one I found really interesting because they used a spider plant as the thriller, which it was just so interesting to me. It's like they had no restrictions and they just went around and grabbed whatever spoke to them and then threw them in a basket. And the employees that were putting these together, you could tell they were so proud of them and they wanted me to see them once they grew in a little bit because they said they were absolutely beautiful. Here's a closer look at the begonias, the begonia baskets that had holes all on the sides. And then they also did some other baskets with the same type of baskets, and that had some fuchsia in it, some bacopa in it, some creeping jenny, some ivy. They were just incredible, you guys. Okay, I promise I will stop talking about the hanging baskets, but it was just so incredibly inspiring. So out in the back, this is where they had more of their nursery. It was really interesting to me because they had so many rhododendrons, so many. They had an aisle for each color. And I have to say, driving around the Skagit Valley, I understand why they had so many rhododendrons for sale because they were so incredibly beautiful. Here in California, we do not grow rhododendrons, almost not at all. We do grow azaleas. There are a lot of azaleas, but I rarely see rhododendrons growing well here. And so it was just really, really neat to see how well they did grow in this climate. There were a couple other greenhouses that did hold other types of plants, like vining plants and shade plants and other types of stuff. You can see my mom right there looking around. On the same vein, how we don't grow a lot of rhododendrons in California, we also don't grow a ton of clematis. We do have clematis, we just don't have a ton of it. And I was so impressed to see how many clematis were here. It was absolutely beautiful. I just had to stop myself and just look at every single one because I was just absolutely in love with all of it. So I love going to different areas and seeing what thrives and seeing what nurseries have lots and lots and lots of compared to the nurseries where I live. I just find it so interesting. So this is one of the fun things that I like to do when I travel and go see different nurseries in different areas. All right, the last thing I want to show you all is the propagation house. It is an all glass greenhouse built in 1946, and it is just amazing. There was actually a photo shoot going on while I was there, so I was trying to stay out of their way. Oh my goodness. There were birds flying around. There were the hanging baskets. There were gorgeous geraniums. You just can't beat it, you guys. It is so incredibly beautiful. On our way out, we did stop at the Primrose Antique and Gifts, which is the little gift shop they have here. It's absolutely so cute and beautiful, and lots of wonderful gardening books, including Florette, that is from this area. My mom wanted to show me. She wanted to get it on film, so I had to do it. She says, come here. They have bunnies here, which is so incredibly cute. I'm not sure why they have the bunnies here, but I just thought it was so sweet. If you all don't know, both of my daughters have bunnies, and actually my youngest daughter's birthday is actually today, the day you guys will see this, and we got her a new bunny for her birthday. So we have a little tiny bunny at home, so we had to show them this. So anyway, if you guys are going to the Tulip Festival in the Skagit Valley, please take the time to stop by Christianson's. It is absolutely worth a stop, a must see if you're in the valley, and I promise you will not be disappointed. So I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope I showed it well enough so you can see what an amazing place it is, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.